Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video and associated blog post are all about the issue, are your life and your relationship issues fated? So it's part 3 of a 6-part mini-series. And this part 3 focuses on the Dashas, the incredibly wonderful and unique life period sequence of Vedic astrology. The Dashas are actually based upon the position of the moon at the moment of your birth, so their start and their sequence is completely unique to you, and they work in a very fated way, hence my inclusion of them in the series. Are your life and your relationship issues fated? But the whole point about our fate and destiny is, yes, our personality issues and our relating issues and the events that happen to us are fated. But what we have to discover is, how can we benefit from the experience? How can we thus find healing? How can we thus raise our spiritual awareness? That's the whole purpose of our chosen incarnation life path. Now, the principal Dasha system used in Vedic astrology is the Vimshottari Dasha system. And the planetary sequence I'm going to tell you in a minute. But note that each period that you go through contains sub-periods and sub-sub-periods. And the nature of the ruling planet of your Dasha and sub-periods greatly affects your life and awareness and the events that will happen. The nature of the planet in an absolute sense, and the energy of that planet affects us at the time of its Dasha period in our life. And they particularly affect the house that planet rules, or houses that planet rules, and the house that planet occupies. The life areas of those houses are much bigger affected at the time of the Dasha of that planet. It's so helpful to realize this and say, well, this is happening to me now. I want to manage it in such and such a way, but that effect will run out at such and such a date, and it will be replaced by another planet having a dominant influence in my life, in my awareness, in my relationships. And the Dasha you enter at birth, as I said, is determined by the position of the moon at the moment of your birth. And as I'll mention in a moment, it is so important to deeply understand the effect on you, your fates and destinies, of the Dasha of your birth. But before we actually look at example, I'll just mention the sequence and the duration of each Dasha. But remember that each Dasha has sub-periods and sub-sub-periods. So the sequence is Sun, 6 years, Moon, 10 years, Mars, 7 years, Rahu, North Node of the Moon, 18 years, Jupiter, 16 years, Saturn, 19 years, Mercury, 17 years, Ketu South Node, 7 years, Venus, 20 years. So as I said, it's so important to understand its effect, the effect of its ruling planet and sub-period planets, on the planets in your birth chart, on the houses of your birth chart, and therefore in your life areas which those houses declare. And get an astrology reading from me which includes your Dashas, your life periods. But as I said, another thing that it's so important to understand is the Dasha you were born into or entered into in your infancy. This is so true. it locks into place the fated karmic destiny which your soul chose, the reason for this incarnation, to experience that start dasha. And these experiences of your start dasha actually form your personality and life path, and it can be in a difficult, fated way. For example, a case I often get in readings is if a little child was born into the energies of Ketu Dasha, south node of the moon Dasha. That child will be born in the awareness that this world is not safe or supportive. Not safe, not supportive. And that experience is so hard for a baby to cope with, that energy flooding through the baby's soul, mind and body. And probably the surrounding humans have no idea or little idea. So I actually know a woman born into Ketu Dasha, and she has Lilith conjunct her moon in her birth chart. And Lilith, of course, stuffs its material into our shadow. We cannot face it. We are not allowed to face it. It might be too frightening. It might give us too much power that others don't want us to have. But given the shadow nature of Lilith, how could this person be consciously aware of the true nature of her mothering and its effects on her? But now she actually works as an intuitive healer. I myself entered Ketu Dasha at the age of 4 weeks, and on that very day, on that exact day, I was put in a convent orphanage. So I only mention that to show how fundamental it is to look at the dashas of your infancy as well as the present time. And these dashas are so accurate. So that concludes my part 3 blog and video in the little series, Are Your Life and Your Relationship Issues Fated? Part 1 was the introduction. Part 2 was the Nakshatras or lunar signs, which is such an important issue to understand. Part 4 coming up is your Dara Karika and your Atma Karika. Dara Karika states, who and what are you looking for in love? Atma Karika states, what is the nature of your life purpose and fate direction in this life based on events in previous life locked into place, often by things that happen in infancy. Part 5, drawing on Western astrology, is the crucial to understand issue of our sub-personalities. And part 6 is again drawn on Western astrology and is the crucial to understand issue of nature versus nurture. What nature did we come in with in this life? And what effects on us did our earliest upbringing environment, our nurture environment, have on us? So part 6 talks about nature versus nurture. Which are we? What do we do about it? So I hope this insight is proving useful and valuable. If you want a reading from me, go to my Star Wheel Astrology website and book a reading. Another development at this time is that I have created Love Star Dating, an international dating site for those on a spiritual pathway who are seeking love. Go to that site. You can book a relationship astrology reading from me. And incidentally, most dating sites start with a load of bogus members. We chose to be genuine, so we started with no members, but it's free to join. So if you're on a spiritual pathway and if you're seeking love, join the site, and soon thousands of people will be on the site. Thank you.